Howdy. I thought I'd give a little lesson on modes, and in particular the Mixolydian mode, which is probably my favorite one. You probably have heard me play that quite a bit lately because it's fun to play blues, and Mixolydian works really great for that. So I'm going to explain what modes are first of all. And I had a teacher named Barry Barrington, and he was a piano teacher back when I was in college at the end of the 80s. And there was this guitar player named Frank Gambale who played with Chick Corea, and he had all these books out about modes, and everybody was talking about modes, and me and half the class didn't have a clue what a mode was. Barry Barrington one day said, "Do you guys have any questions? I'll teach whatever. What do you want to know?" And one guy, Kelly Swain, my old friend Kelly, puts his hand up. He goes, "What are modes?" And Barry said something that like was an atomic bomb going off in my head. He said, "Oh, that's easy. Okay, if you go up to the white keys on a piano, and you play C to C, well, that's the major key. That's also called Ionian. It's the same thing. And then if you play D to D, that's called Dorian. And E to E is Phrygian, and F to F is Lydian, and G to G is Mixolydian, and A to A would be Aeolian, which is a natural minor, and B to B would be Locrian. Those are the modes based on the major scale. There's other modes based on harmonic minor scales and melodic minor scales as well, but we're going to stick with the major key because it's the basis of everything for what we're doing here. So the Mixolydian mode is a scale based on the fifth degree of a major scale. So we'll play in G Mixolydian today. So that's the fifth degree of C major. So if you know C major, right, everybody knows that major scale sound, the do, re, mi, and all that kind of stuff. But if you start on the fifth degree, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you play the notes from C major based off that fifth degree, you get this. So it's almost like a major scale, but instead of that, it's got a flat 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. And that scale works beautifully over dominant chords, like G7, for example. We'll stay in the key of G Mixolydian today. So if you can get that chord in your head, that root note, and you just basically play C major over top of that, what you're playing is G Mixolydian. It all works. So that's where I'm going to leave off today. And I know that probably 80% of you people that are my guitar playing friends are probably going, "Hawthorne, we already know this shit." Anyway, some of you don't know it, and I'm talking to you, and I'm going to continue on with this little subject because I want to try to teach you how to improvise over like a blues progression, a 1, 4, 5. So we'd be dealing with the chords G7, C7, and D7, and how to make it sound like you know what you're doing, and how you can make it coherent musically and not just a bunch of, playing it, taking that chord and, that's great. The pentatonic minor is great, but there's so much more you can do with it. And I use the pentatonic minor all the time, don't get me wrong. It's awesome. And there's a reason why it's awesome. But let's go off that a little bit and let's talk about Mixolydian. So that's where I'll leave off today. So homework, play a G7 chord, record it onto your phone, and then play the C major scale. And if you don't know the C major scale, look it up. There's this thing called YouTube. It's amazing. You should check it out. Learn how to play a C major scale all over the neck. Learn it where every single note is, because as soon as you do that, you're free. You don't have to think about it anymore. Learn the notes, memorize the notes, know where those notes are, and then play. And keep playing it, and it'll just become part of your vocabulary, because you got to remember, music is just a language just like any other language, and scales are the alphabet. They're literally, we have called them A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So it's still an alphabet. It's there are the same grammatical errors that you can make in any sort of language, and spelling mistakes if you want to look at it that way. Although I don't think in music there are any mistakes. There's just there's no wrong notes. There might be wrong choices, but that's a whole other subject. So play a G7 chord. Oops, that's awesome. That's great. That's a nice chord. That's awesome. Anyway, G7 chord. Do a little, And then you practice playing over it in C major. And so on and so on. So start with that, and I don't know, give it a week, and I'll come back and add something to this. So thanks for listening, and for my guitar playing friends who are so much better than I am, I apologize. I hope you're not bored. For those of you who are kind of new to this or in an intermediate stage, I hope you found it useful, and we'll continue on with the modal experiments in Mixolydian.